Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome back to another live stream from New York City. Today is April 24, 2021 and temperature is currently 68 degrees Fahrenheit and that's close to 20 degrees Celsius, and today we are taking a cruise. Yeah, you are hearing me right. We are taking Circle Line cruise that will give us a tour of whole Manhattan from water, and you will about to see some epic view of New York City from a cruise or boat, whatever you will say. And we'll start our journey in a few minutes or so. So I see already people are joining, and thank you so much for those who are joining. Albrecht, Catherine Kane, the ABX Gull, Mr. Coop, Hasif, Dewal, Oscar, BK. So welcome everyone, and yeah, it's a wonderful day. Hey Michelle. And the boat is very crowded. Very crowded because the weather makes everyone to come out and explore the beautiful New York City. And as you can see, right over there, the Hudson Yard, it's under construction, but still the view is not bad. Yeah, they're all nice to see you here after a long time. Mr. Coop, I was a bit busy, that's why I haven't got a chance to do lots of video, but I'm back. I'm back with another very interesting video for you guys. Hey Davey, thanks for tuning in. We're about to start our journey in few minutes. So stay tuned and let people come in. And if you haven't given a like to this video, make sure to give a like to this video so it can pop up to other friends' feedback. So yeah, we all can enjoy this beautiful cruise ride. Let me take you guys a 360-degree view of this boat so you can understand how crowded it is. I'm on the middle of the boat, but this is how it's crowded. People prefer to stay outside rather than you have a lower deck and you had a place to sit here, but people are prefer to sit the outside. Yes, Don, I am in Circle Line tour. Yes, indeed. I feel like they had a pretty good deal and the weather is perfect. I want to do this trip for a long time, but I haven't got a chance. But today the weather is perfect and I got a time to do so because this will be more than 2 hours of cruise ride. So stay tuned and hang tight. Grab some drinks or coffee so you can enjoy my show properly, because it would be a long live stream, more than 2 hours, because we will circle the whole perimeter of Manhattan. As you can see the map, we start from Pier 83 and then we will take a round to all over to the Manhattan, and even we will explore the Statue of Liberty. As you can see the map right there towards your left. Yeah, so that's our goal for today. Hopefully you will enjoy this video, guys. So by the meantime, let me know from where you are watching me, and it would be fun to read the time I'm waiting. It would be fun to know from where you guys are watching me, basically. It would be very interesting, very interesting. So yeah, I think we begin our journey. So yeah, our journey begins right now. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully there will be no internet issue, because maybe in some place internet might be not that great, but hopefully we'll make it. Hey Kevin from Liverpool, England, thanks for tuning in. We just started our journey it would be a 2-hour long. Barnabas from United States. Thank you so much. Brian from Newcastle, England. Hey Cecilia, Thomas, thanks for tuning in. So our journey just began. Wow. Empire State Building. Yeah, loop around Manhattan. We will go to Bronx and then we'll come back to here. Yeah. We'll see some epic landmark of New York City today from water. Hopefully you will enjoy it. So as I said, if you haven't given a like to this video, make sure to give a like so many more friends can join in to the show. Hey Larissa, thanks for tuning in. So we are going a bit back.
Okay, we are officially on our way. Hey, just a couple more safety announcements if I could, as far as the life jackets go. Whether you look in front of you or behind you, you'll notice there are these silver boxes. We have these big metal containers really throughout the boat. So yeah, inside these metal containers, that's where we keep our life jackets, you know, which the crew will help distribute and don if needed. And these life jackets, they are light in weight. You know, they slip over your head. One strap only, goes around the back, clips onto the front. Again, they're on both levels. But really, in the event of an emergency,
hey Ronald, thanks for tuning in.
Whether it be for myself or one of the other crew members. And hey, just in general, please be careful walking around the boat. At times, these decks, they can get slick and slippery. So yeah, just want to be careful.
We had a narrator as what we are looking at. So that's the Interpret Sea and Space Museum right there.
It is open. You got a nice day.
And that's the Central Park Tower, the tallest residential building in the world. This one.
You want to take the stairs down, get down to that main deck, and then walk forward. That's the bow of the boat. No chairs, but a lot of standing room, not only on the bow, but on the lower deck and the back as well. So just to let you know.
That's the one. That way right now. Basically our plan right now to head towards Statue of Liberty. So we are heading toward that way.
You know, down the Hudson River.
Hey Marvin.
And as we kind of straight down here, if you want to take a look over to your right side. In fact, if you look across the Hudson River, you are looking at the state of New Jersey. That's our sister state. That's New Jersey right here, right? All right, guys, sounds like we have some Jersey folks up for it. All right, well.
It is a bit windy.
And I'm sure this town directly across to your right, this is Weehawken, New Jersey.
It's because the wind is so strong.
Place just a little of your state, Weehawken, New Jersey.
Yeah. We are going to south first, then we'll take a loop and head towards north and again come back. Is that audio is better now?
Getting back to Manhattan here. Coming up on your left, first of all, you see they're sort of dismantling this
it's
Pier
so damn windy.
They're going to keep this steel framework. It's eventually going to become a public park. It's going to open up in June.
Yeah, so that's park towards our right will be open in June. That's nice.
Kind of a silver dark.
Hey Rob, hello.
Jacob K. Javits Convention Center. That's where they would host, you know, the boat show, the automobile show. Right now,
as you can see, the vessel at Hudson Yard, it's right that way. It's right here.
So coming up on a tremendous development project that's shaping up here on the far west side of Manhattan. The name of it is the Hudson Yards. And there's going to be 16 buildings going up here.
Wow.
High-rise office towers, apartments, there'll be a school, open public space. And by the way, very interesting structure straight across to your left. You kind of look right through the center buildings. Looks like an oversized honeycomb, but for lack of a better word, it's an observation deck. The name of it is the Vessel, opened up a couple years ago. English designer, his name is Thomas Heatherwick. He's the architect. But what you have Here, there's 154 interconnecting platforms, and there's 2,500 steps that weave their way up to the top. Very cool. Unfortunately, it is temporarily closed. There's some safety issues they're working on. So, yeah, I called up a couple of weeks ago, and hopefully June is going to reopen that vessel.
So that's a $1 million view from here.
You see the tallest of the buildings here at the Hudson Yards. It's an office building. 30 Hudson is the address. If you look just a few floors down from the top, you see it looks like a ledge sticking out. That ledge is the highest outdoor observation deck in New York City. The name of it is the Edge.
It's right here.
But that edge has a glass floor. Looks 1,100 feet down to the city streets. And by the way, it has reopened. You can see
all seats are filled. It's packed busy, and some people grab some chair from there and place it somewhere there and make arrangement to sit outside.
It's open. You got to reserve your tickets in advance. You want to book it online. But the name of it is the Edge. You go solo. By the way, we're kind of leaving Midtown, approaching a neighborhood here on your left side known as Chelsea. The little sailboat on your left side. We're passing Pier 66 on your left shoulder. You can rent kayaks. They'll teach you how to sail out here on the Hudson. And yeah, I got a lot of people on that barge. It's actually a 2-level restaurant. It goes by the same name.
Hey, Katie.
Retired.
Thanks for tuning in from Switzerland.
And by the way, that's a retired fireboat off the end of that pier too. Served the city for about 30 years. You know what? If you want to take a look up ahead to your left, you're going to see there are these red, white, and blue piers. It's a terrific sports and entertainment complex named the Chelsea.
Look at the beauty right there.
Especially if you have the kids, by the way, gymnastics, batting cages, rock climbing.
Empire State Building.
They have year-round ice skating. The first red, white, and blue pier.
The wind is getting so high.
51. But inside you know what? If you look behind Pier 60, the second red, white, and blue pier, there's a green glass building, kind of mosaic style. It's an apartment building. Opened up about 10 years ago. The architect's name is Jean Nouvel. That building is designed where you can look out, but people cannot see you. There are 2 levels of angled, reflective, shaded tinted windows. But to get back to the Chelsea Piers, Pier 59 is up next. You see the high netting, the fencing surrounding it. Yeah, this is a 4-level golf driving range. Practice your golf swings here. There are 4 levels. You can see the
Thank you, Katie, for becoming a new member for the NYC Walking Show community. Appreciate it.
And you know, a lot of history with the Chelsea Piers. 109 years ago,
that's a park.
The Titanic, bound for New York
That's a
City.
park will opening in this spring. It would be wonderful to explore this park. I can't wait to go there and explore that. This park will be open in this spring.
Titanic, they were brought to New York City on a vessel named the Carpathia, and she tied up at Pier 54. So the original pier is gone. It's in the process of being rebuilt. And if you look up ahead to your left, this is the rebuild of Pier 54. Very interesting pier. It's going to be made up of over 130 of these concrete pods on these concrete pilings. There'll be rolling hills and planted trees. The name of it is Little Island. And it's due to open up this spring. I think it might be a couple of weeks off, but they're still saying spring of 2021. Hey,
look at the view from here. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Greg, for your $4.99 super chat. Appreciate it. Thank you so much, Greg.
That new pier, there's a rusted iron arch. If you walk by it,
wow,
it's fading out, but you will see the words, the names White Star, Canard Mines. They were right.
Look at those crazy view, guys.
They're rebuilding Pier 54. It was a block north of the original pier. And by the way, you see this work barge on your left side? They're creating a makeshift beach
as you can see,
on the west side of Manhattan.
This building right here, the Jenga building.
Hey, you guys want to take a quick
Ronald, the ferry cost me $44. Yeah, it's not that cheap. It's a bit expensive, but it's worth it, I think, because it's a 2-hour more than a 2-hour of ride. So yeah.
And that is the highlight of our cruise today. This is where it all began for our Blue Eyes right here, the chairman of the board. And I don't know if you heard of the Cake Boss, Carlos Bakery, but his original shop is in Hoboken. 3 streets up from the river on your right side is Washington Street. That's where you're going to find Carlos Bakery, the original. He's opened up some outposts, but the original shop is in Hoboken.
Hey Maria, hello,
right
thanks
side,
for tuning in.
Second. You see the clock tower above the Erie Lackawanna terminal. Beautiful old building. 114 years old.
This building right here, it's
still very active. You'll see a string of commuter boats, New York Waterway. They'll shuttle you across the Hudson, get you over to Manhattan.
Oh gosh, the wind is so bad.
And if you guys want to get back over to Manhattan on your left side, we're now opposite Greenwich Village. It's the village named after Greenwich, England.
That's the Tribeca right there.
From Greenwich Village south, all of the name streets have remained. You know, like from the village north, you have number streets, primarily. And this actually happened in 1811. To make life easier, they created the grid system, where you have street numbers that go east and west. And you're
yeah, Ronald, it's not bad.
So yeah, really from the village on down.
If you really want to get a different type of experience to explore New York City, then I definitely recommend this type of ride for sure.
There is a street. The name of the street is Houston, cuts west to east. Borders neighborhoods. To the north of Houston Street, you're in Greenwich Village. If you go to the south of Houston Street, though, you are entering Soho. And Soho,
this view is right here is mind-blowing.
Soho stands for south of Houston Street. I know there's a district in London named Soho. When you're in New York City and you're in Soho, yeah, you're south of Houston. And hey, there's a big brown tower on your left side, right off the end of this pier. In fact, you have that same across to your right, brown building. Yeah, these are the ventilating towers for the Harlem Tunnel. Yeah, passenger car tunnel, automobile. Goes right underneath the Hudson River. It's about 1.5 miles long. The ventilation system changes the air. It pumps in fresh air. Like every 90 seconds, kind of clears out the air. On the Manhattan side, it gets you up at Canal Street, which also runs west to east.
This view is definitely one of the best view of downtown Manhattan for sure.
Which got its name. Another one of these acronyms. Yeah, we just sailed by Canal Street. Tribeca stands for Triangle Below Canal Street. It's a designated group of streets, and it more or less forms a triangle that's below Canal. So you got Tribeca. Hey, there's a brand new apartment building here in Tribeca. If you look straight across, it's nicknamed the Jenga Building, if you're familiar.
The Jenga Building. I told you guys.
You've got these stacked apartments, one above the other. It's a Swiss architect group, Herzog and de Meuron. And I'm sure they're thrilled it's nicknamed the Jenga Building.
Wow, nothing better than this view at all.
But really, you want to take a look up ahead to your left. You are looking at what is now the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. This is the Freedom Tower. This is #1 World Trade Center. So the official address, you know, #1 World Trade Center, there will be 7 buildings going. There were 7 buildings that made up the original World Trade Center complex, you know, including the Twin Towers, of course. They were #1 and #2. But 7 buildings made up that compound. So, yeah, ultimately they want to rebuild all 7. In fact, a lot of which have been up and running for years. This #1 will be the tallest of the 7.
It's getting
you look up top
damn
of the building,
wind. Oh my goodness.
Communication antenna. If you can see the very tip of the antenna, there is a stainless steel spire up there. When that spire was installed, let's go back now to the end of 2013, when this building topped out. And the height of this building is 1,776 feet. And And that number, you know, the significance, of course, the birth of our nation, 1776. Yeah, that's the height of this number one World Trade Center. And by the way, this building, 104 stories. The Twin Towers, those two buildings, were 110 stories each. So even though, yeah, there may be less floors, they wanted the height of this building, like the rooftop, to be the exact same height as the Twin Towers. Like this building is 1,368 feet. That was the height of the original number one. Number two was about 6 feet short. But that's a 408-foot antenna. So when you combine those numbers, you know, that's when you jump up to that 1,776. They said the antenna is a more functional part of the building. So they added it. Hey, a little over your left shoulder, there's a boat marina. It's the North Cove Marina. You look behind that marina.
As you can see, right there, it's far away.
Over your left shoulder.
The Arizona Bridge is right there.
It's named the Winter Garden. Severely damaged by the collapse of the Twin Towers. But first of all, it's been back over 3 years. It's been rebuilt. The whole area called Brookfield Place, restaurants and shopping. But behind that atrium, that's going to give you
That's the Brookfield Palace right there. It's right there.
Yeah, a couple of nice sailboats. What a nice day to have your boat down on the water. You guys want to take a real quick look over to your right side?
Oh wow, look at that boat right there. They're having a real great time. Sailboat, wow.
There's a very big clock on the waterfront on your right side. You'll notice the Colgate signage. The clock used to sit up top of the Colgate company here. That company relocated 30 years ago. They left the clock here. And this clock, by the way, happens to be the world's largest freestanding single-face clock.
Wow.
And I don't know exactly how many freestanding single-face clocks there are in the world, but apparently that's the biggest one. Probably the only one.
That's the world's biggest freestanding clock.
And my
right there.
About 20 minutes after 3, I got to change the battery. It was working earlier. And by the way, when that clock works, the minute hand on that clock jumps 3 feet every minute. And real quick, I don't know if we're going to get a closer look, but you're going to see a little white boat over your right shoulder. That is the new, it's been around for 2 years, a hot tub boat. You got 2 hot tubs, 10 people per hot tub. Runs out of Jersey City, probably heading back into the slip here in your right. You might see it out on the harbor.
Yeah, Ronald, it's perfect day for sailing, for sure.
Coming up on your right side. This is an old ferry terminal. It's the old Jersey Central, had been used in the 1960s. A couple of things. First of all, the building's been restored. And by the way, this kind of marks the beginnings of Liberty State Park in New Jersey, 1,000-acre park. But this building also really marks the end of the Hudson River for us. We are leaving the Hudson right now. We're entering. This is the upper bay of New York we're entering. And the Statue of Liberty getting close. You can see her up ahead there on your right side. Still a few minutes away.
We are a few minutes away from Statue of Liberty.
You know, we're going to see the statue very well from both sides of the boat. It doesn't matter if you're on the left or right side. The captain's
and we will get a really good view of Statue of Liberty for sure.
And again, listen, you guys, you have some nice seats up here in the top deck. I know it's got a little breezy. I see the hair blowing back there. But right now, I'm looking down at the bow, the front of the boat. There's not a lot
look at the view from here.
The bow is wide open. Great place for taking pictures, especially as we draw closer to the statue. So I'm just throwing it out. The bow, once again, is open. Yeah, what you want to do is take the stairs down, get down to that main deck, walk forward. The bow of the boat. Do your Titanic. It's open, you're more than welcome to head down.
That's the Statue of Liberty. Lady Liberty is there. We are getting close and close. Let me go to that part. Yeah, exactly, Ronald. You are correct. Parts of The Liberty Island is situated between New York and New Jersey. It's so windy. It should be like that, I believe. In this video, I'm not doing that much narration because due to the wind, I don't think you guys can hear me properly. So that's the reason I'm just giving you guys the view.
This was the very first stop.
No, Tommy, I can't swim, unfortunately.
Passed through this island, papers checked, and physical examinations. The island picked up the nickname Island of Tears because of the separation of families. Not everyone was processed through. The family members sent back home. So, picked up the nickname Island of Tears. The first immigrant processed through here was a young girl from Ireland. Her name was Annie Moore. She was from County Cork. And, she was 15 years old when she was processed through. And by the way, this island opened up January 1st, 1892.
Oh, that's perfect, Ronald. That means my microphone did a pretty great job that you can hear me in such windy situation. I really appreciate.
Kind of saw its busiest years through like mid-1920s, but dramatically slowed. Shut down in 54.
The Ellis Island we just passed by, it's right here.
And you know what? I know it's a little
immigration starts from here.
French Renaissance style building. The work gardens. Back in the day, that was the main hall. Actor Will Smith a few years ago.
And here we go. We are close to the Liberty, Statue of Liberty, the Lady Liberty.
In fact, from that North Cove Marina we saw earlier. Anyway, they ended up with the main museum. And so, yes, I want to mention the Ellis Island is back open. In fact, they just restarted. You can do a 90-minute hard hat guided tour of Ellis Island.
Ellis Island is open as well. So maybe in future I'll take a tour of Ellis Island as well. And also the Statue of Liberty. I'll take a tour definitely in this summer for sure.
Closer to the Statue of Liberty. She's standing tall right here in the center of the harbor. Got the statue up next to me.
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate that you are enjoying this.
So the statue was a gift, from the people of France to the people of America. Designed by a sculptor. His name was Frederick Auguste Bartholdi. And by the way, he gave her original title. Of course, she's known as the Statue of Liberty, but her official title, Liberty Enlightening the World. The Eiffel Tower in Paris, France, designed by Gustave Eiffel. That same engineer designed the inner support frame of the statue as well.
Everyone is getting so excited and ready to take a picture.
She is made of copper. This copper coming from Norway. I'm going to say it's like an eighth of an inch thick, but really if you hold two coins together, like if you press two pennies together, that is the thickness of the statue right there. In fact, they say she's made up of like over 9 million pennies, but after years of exposure to the elements, she's oxidized. She's turned for her to fully turn green. And they left her this way too, acts as a protective coating. Officially unveiled October the 28th, 1886. Hey, 2012, we got hit with this Hurricane Sandy. It was nicknamed Superstorm Sandy, a really devastating storm, here in the Northeast. And that storm, of course, it affected the Statue of Liberty. Liberty Island was closed for months after that storm. And the statue herself, by the way, held up very well. 100-mile-an-hour sustained winds accompanying that storm. She was fine. It was the island that took a beating. Like during the peak of that storm, massive water surge. And really at one point in time, 70% of Liberty Island was underwater. She was without power for months, but yeah, did a great job getting this island back up and running. All right, so we're going to make a slow turn. We will see the statue from the left side of the boat. And I don't know if you guys want to take a look to your left as we make this turn, but I think you get kind of a nice picture here. As we make our slow turn, you get a pretty nice shot at the Manhattan skyline. As we're all the way out here in the bay, and as we turn, it just kind of opens up. Got a nice, very mild, almost summer-like day, kind of a little hazy. But yeah, it's a nice little postcard shot of the Manhattan sky. Now you get that, there's a little Coast Guard cutter anchored out here in the bay.
There we go. We got Statue of Liberty and Manhattan in a one frame. That's the perfect shot. My pleasure, Maria. Thank you so much.
So yeah, we're going to swing around. We'll see the statue one more time from the left side of the boat. If you do want to get back to the statue, you'll notice in her left arm, she cradles this tablet, you know. Inscribed across the face of the tablet, it reads July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of our Independence. So in her right hand, you know, she carries that torch of freedom. That's not the original torch. You know, they had taken the old one down. It was in 1984. Really in preparation for her 100th birthday. In 1986, there was a big 100-year birthday celebration out here in the harbor, so they gave her a new torch. And by the way, the old torch was made of glass, and the old torch was also a registered lighthouse in this harbor. So this one here is actually covered with gold, 24 karat gold leaf. They light it up at night. Got these new LED lights and all, but you know, with that gold up there, it looks as though it shines day and night. So yeah, the island is open. You see a lot of people over there today. However, you know, the base of the statue, the interior, the crown, that's still closed. Hopefully it'll, you know, reopen sooner rather than later. In fact, you know, pre-pandemic, well over a year now, you were able to walk up into the crown, and hopefully that'll happen again soon. And I don't know if you guys have been inside the statue before, but it's a tight, spiral, narrow, little claustrophobic-y little staircase. 162 steps get you up into that crown. And you know what? You'll notice her crown, there's 7 points that surround her crown. They signify the 7 seas that connect the 7 continents. And the base of the statue, that was designed as a fort to protect this harbor in case of British invasion. The name of the fort is Wood. It's been a museum for all these years. And by the way, there's a brand new museum
Thanks
on
for tuning
Liberty
in.
Island, which also just reopened. It's tough to see from here. It's kind of at the back end of the island behind the trees. But if you do get inside that new museum, you will find the old torch on display, which is quite a sight. And you might want to grab your last sort of up-close shot at the statue. This is it. We're going to pull away from her now. We're going to head back down this bay. And we're bound for the East River. And we're going to be sailing under the Brooklyn Bridge in just a little bit.
Oh wow, that would be fun. Sailing beneath the Brooklyn Bridge, that would be fun. So far, how is the audio quality, guys, and the video quality? Let me know. Do we had any issue with audio and video? Let me know. Hey Alec, Sandro, thanks for tuning in. I hope you are doing pretty well.
You guys want to take a real quick look over your right shoulder. And you're looking pretty far back, about 6 miles over your right shoulder. You can see there's a bridge off in the distance. That's the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. The Verrazano Bridge, 1964 is when it opened up. You know, let me start off by saying New York City consists of 5 boroughs. These boroughs include, of course, you have Manhattan Island, there's Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx. And we'll be seeing every one of the boroughs during our ride today. But that bridge back there connects 2 of them. On your right side, that's the borough of Brooklyn. You got Brooklyn, New York on your right. On the other side of that bridge, kind of behind us, that's the borough of Staten Island, historic Richmond town. You know, if we were to sail past that bridge, we would then be on the lower bay of New York. That's going to get you out to sea. That's the gateway to the Atlantic Ocean. And by the way, that Verrazano Bridge is the longest suspension bridge in the United States. You know, with suspension bridges, they only measure the span between the 2 single towers, which is very lucky for us. They don't go any further. Because this span here is 4,260 feet. It beats the Golden Gate in San Francisco by 60 feet. 60 feet longer than the Golden Gate.
This view is one of the best view of Manhattan. I just love
44
it.
years ago, they released a movie called Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta's big hit, which I can't believe was 44 years ago. But that is the bridge. Some of it's filmed in Brooklyn, some of it's shot on that Verrazano Bridge. And if I could do one more thing about that bridge back there, it's named after an Italian explorer, Giovanni di Verrazzano. He was the first explorer to enter this harbor. It was in 1524. Hey, you know, I mentioned Brooklyn is on your right side, but right now there's an island between us and Brooklyn. This here is Governor's Island.
That's the Governor's Island
the
right
Native
here.
American Indians, the first inhabitants, but it was the Dutch, the first European settlers. This island was their first, early 1600s. And the island oh, we saw that Coast Guard cutter out by the statue. This island was a huge Coast Guard base, a training facility. And long the island, it's now a 172-acre park. You can rent bicycles, It seems like they've been kind of lifting restrictions here in New York City. Like a couple of weeks ago, they reopened comedy clubs, you know, within a certain amount of venues such as outdoor concerts. So Governor's Island, they usually have outdoor concerts set up, and that might happen again this summer. You do see a lot of tents set up on your right side. You can actually spend the night on Governor's Island. They have what they call glamping, glamorous camping. Anywhere from $300 to $1,000 a night, depending on the size.
It was
of
a
the
little
tents,
bit
but you
internet
get
issue,
gourmet
but
meals and all sorts of
I think
fun
now it's okay.
And by the way, Governor's Island not open yet. It's going to reopen May 1st.
Look
They
at
won't
those
get the island
tents.
open year-round. It does shut during the winter. Ultimately, they want to get it open year-round. And you know what? There are 40 historic buildings on this island, including 2 forts.
Thank you, Ivy, for your $5.
Up ahead to your right,
Appreciate it.
circular stone building, that's Fort Williams. And by the way, if you look up top this fort, that is a cannon sitting up there. And that cannon has been there since the War of 1812. Originally it had over 100 cannons, 1 remaining. Never fired in anger. It was fired some years ago for a celebration, but never fired in anger. And right now that cannon is pointing directly at the bow of this boat. And there's 2 strange men doing something to it too. Oh, by the way, real quick look over your left shoulder. There's a big orange ferry boat making its way out onto the bay. That's the famous Staten Island ferry. It's a 25-minute ferry ride. It goes back and forth all day long.
It's free. This ferry right here, Staten Island, it's free.
They can carry a lot of people. Hey, this boat you're on today, we have 280 people on board today. And by the way, you know, pre-COVID, our capacity was 600. During COVID, they chopped us down to 280. So, in essence, we have a full load, 280 people. But the Staten Island ferries, pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000. They pack them on in. It's also a free ride, by the way. It went as high as 50 cents round trip fare. And that was going back to 1997. But since then, yeah, it's been free to the public. If it's okay with you, I'm going to get right back to Manhattan, but if I can get you guys over to the right side, I just want to wrap up Governor's Island. On your right, at the north tip of the island, is this, looks like a stone monument. It's an air vent for the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. Another one of these underwater tunnels. You got Brooklyn reappearing on your right. I know we're playing tennis here, but back over to your left side, that's Battery Park, the southern tip of Manhattan. So 100 feet below us is the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. Oh, we just saw that Staten Island ferry sail by. If you up on your left side, and in fact, you got two piers. The Staten Island ferry slip, and right next to it is the Governor's Island ferry. So I'm going to serve it back over to the right side, just to get back to Brooklyn for a minute, real quick. All right, if you look up ahead to your right, you have a neighborhood known as Brooklyn Heights. But I just want to mention, they're creating this 1.5 mile long park along the Brooklyn waterfront. It's called Brooklyn Bridge Park. Sports, recreation, you can rent kayaks, take them out on the East River. And coming up on your right, you're going to see there's a boat marina. If you look behind the marina, if you can make it out, there's a string of powder blue umbrellas.
That's a Brooklyn Bridge.
That is a makeshift beach equipped with barbecues and, yeah, great views of Manhattan. Doing a really nice job with this Brooklyn Bridge Park. All right, you want to get back over to Manhattan. You got some helicopter action. This is the Wall Street Heliport. If you want to do a sightseeing,
that's the helicopter ride, guys. Let me know if you want to see some helicopter
technically
rides.
it's Pier 6, but it picked up the
Let me know.
Wall Street Heliport. We're going to be seeing Wall Street here in a moment. As a matter of fact, Wall Street is going to open up to us. And we're going to look up Wall Street. And hopefully, we're going to get a little glimpse of Trinity Church, which is right at the end. It's right on Broadway and Wall. You know what? Before we get to Wall Street, there's a street opening up right now, straight across to your left. The name of it is Old Slip. If you look up the street, there's a dark building, but you see it has patches of yellow squares, like these yellow cubes. That's an apartment building. Opened up about 10 years ago. The nickname of the building is the Beaver. It's located on Beaver Street in Lower Manhattan. And that building was voted the ugliest building in New York City. And that's not coming from me, that was an actual vote. All right, I mentioned Wall Street and Trinity Church. On your left, you got these 3 blue and white commuter boats. Behind the one straight across to your left, that's Wall Street right there. A little over your left shoulder. You look up Wall Street, it's going to be real quick. You're going to see Trinity Church. In fact, you guys are front. You're looking up Wall over your left shoulder. And you can see the spire of Trinity Church right about now, right there. Sort of in the shadows of the other buildings. You folks in the back of the boat, you should see Trinity Church right now. By a show of hands, how many people here today actually saw Trinity Church on Wall Street? 3 of us, that's not bad. 3 out of 280, you're doing very well. And by the way, adjoining that church, there's a cemetery. That's where Alexander Hamilton is buried. So you are looking at the South Street Seaport and Seaport Museum on your left side. That Hurricane Sandy basically wiped it out. But it's back to life in a big way. A little over your left shoulder, that's the rebuilt Pier 17, right? Up top that pier, 1.5 acre park. They created what they call the greens. You can watch a movie under the stars, and it looks as though they will have limited capacity, but summer concert series coming back this summer. And I know we are moving right along. This is the beautiful Brooklyn Bridge we're about to sail under. Yeah, the famous Brooklyn Bridge, opened up in 1883. Up at this bridge, you're going to see how the cables crisscross. Looks like a spider's web. Tremendous design. Designed by a German immigrant. His name is John Roebling. Unfortunately, never saw the bridge completed. He passed away during the early stages.
No, the seats are not fixed. You can sit whatever he wants to sit.
It took 13 years to build the Brooklyn Bridge.
That's the Manhattan Bridge.
Hey, real quick on your right side, yeah, you see the work there, and they're going to continue working on this Brooklyn Bridge Park, create great public space. But coming up on your right, one of the oldest carousels in the country. If you look through this glass containment, Jane's Carousel, over 90 years old, originally from Youngstown, Ohio. It is going to be reopening May 1st. When it reopens, hopefully it'll be the same price, $2 to ride the carousel. So yeah, look forward to that.
Just for $2 for this carousel.
Yeah. Hey, it looks like you got a wedding going on. Take a look over to your right side.
Oh.
You can see, yeah, you see her dress. It looks like they're gonna.
There is a wedding. It's right there, wedding. It's right here.
Beautiful day for a wedding.
Yep, perfect weather for a wedding.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Huge mistake. Just kidding, of course. It looks like the veil's getting stuck on the rocks over there. That's not a good sign. By the way, this bridge above us is the Manhattan Bridge, opened up in 1909. And by the way, this Manhattan Bridge on the Brooklyn side, Flatbush Avenue, which will eventually get you into Atlantic Avenues. But at that intersection, you'll run into the Barclays Center, home of the Brooklyn Nets, the basketball team. Got some high expectations this year. Hey, our women's basketball team, the New York Liberty, they've been playing in Westchester past couple of years. They'll be moving into the Barclays Center this season. So, coming up on your right side, a bit of an eyesore, but this is a power plant, one of our Con Edison generating plants, which we have over 20 of them, like second largest of over 20, converting gas, oil into energy. And by the way, if you look inland to your right, you're looking at downtown Brooklyn. So staying with Brooklyn, but if you look up ahead to your right, once you get past this power plant, there's a big shipyard opening up. This is the Brooklyn Navy Yard, where so many fighting ships were built here, including, just to name a few, the mighty Iowa, the Constellation, the Independence. If you're familiar with the battleship Arizona, it was attacked at Pearl Harbor. It's submerged there. It's part of, the memorial there. It was built here. And during World War II, 70,000 people employed here. They do not build ships anymore, but it is still open for repair work. It's actually becoming another very happening Brooklyn neighborhood. Commercial space moving in, residential. Oh, you know what opened up here? It was actually going back to 2004, but there's a movie television studio. The name of it is Steiner Studios, and this is where they filmed a couple of movies. If you have the kids, they filmed Spider-Man 3, Men in Black 3. Academy Award winners Denzel Washington and Spike Lee. They collaborated on this movie called The Inside Man. Jodie Foster was on a couple of nights ago. This is like Denzel Washington's Home Away from Home. It's been like 4 movies here. There was a terrific New York City movie. It was called The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. And yeah, Denzel did the remake of that. Denzel and Russell Crowe, they teamed up on a movie called American Gangster. So yeah, it's seen a lot of action. And by the way, still a very active yard. Offloaded gravel pier, cement barge.
That's Williamsburg Bridge.
Yeah, you got a nice mild day. Again, kind of almost very summer-like, really. Got a little bit of a haze. And I don't know if you want to take a look over your left shoulder, and I hope it's not too gray back there.
Thank you, Pete, for your $4.99.
You can actually capture the Statue of Liberty, like out underneath the 2 bridges. You got the Brooklyn. I know it's a faraway shot, but kind of an interesting take here from the river.
Yeah, but it's really a great experience, definitely.
So yeah, we have another bridge we're about to sail under. This one here is the Williamsburg Bridge. On the Manhattan side, Delancey Street, the heart of the Lower East Side of Manhattan. In fact, just a few avenues up from the river, you'll run into the Tenement Museum. Tremendous history on the American immigrant. But by the way, if you look up right now, you can look right up through this bridge, and you may see a subway train cross. You certainly see the tracks up there. Yeah, both Williamsburg, Manhattan bridges equipped to take some.
Sorry, that took so long.
You know, Beyonce's husband, Jay-Z, born and raised in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, 2 blocks away from the subway entrance to the J and the Z line. On your right side, the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn. First of all, what's happening here, you got a
That's a Domino Park. You remember I did a live stream here as well.
Construction. This was the old Domino Sugar Refinery. So they closed their door. They relocated years ago, and once they left, developers pounced on the site. And they're creating apartments here, 2,200 apartments. 3 of the old buildings survived demolition. A little quick look over your right shoulder, that old brick building with the tower, that's the original refinery. Eventually there'll be offices in it, but ultimately 2,200 apartments. And by the way, Brooklyn on your right side, do you know if Brooklyn were a city on its own, it would be the 4th largest city in the United States.
Wow.
As far as the population goes. 2.6 million people lived here in Brooklyn, and you know, me being one of them, I was born and raised here in Brooklyn, raising 2 of my own, a neighborhood known as Bay Ridge, really not too far from that Verrazano Bridge we saw earlier.
Bay Ridge is another great place in Brooklyn.
I don't know if you guys watched a television show called Blue Bloods, but Tom Selleck in my apartment, and he never invites me over for Sunday dinner. I see him on the street, I'm like, yo, Magnum, how about an invite? And he says something about a restraining order. He thinks he's a real cop. As we say in Brooklyn, he thinks who he is. I know you can't see it from the boat, but Coney Island, the amusement park, from that Verrazano Bridge, you go about 5 miles southeast of that bridge, you're on Coney Island. And by the way, the rides are back open, the famous Cyclone and the Wonder Wheel. I have some good news for you. I am going to stop talking for a few minutes. I do take, yay! I do, it's only going to be a couple of quickies, but I do take some intermissions during the ride. I'm going to take one right now. You guys want to grab a cup of coffee?
Building.
The bar is open downstairs, the cafe.
One vendor
I'm going to
build.
be back in just a few, once we get close to the United Nations
Building.
headquarters. So, yeah, we'll see in a little bit.
And you can get some free drinks here in this ride if you want so. So yeah, now it's my time to answer a few of the questions. Thank you, Ronald, I appreciate. And thank you, Alexandra, as well, because you guys also help me a lot, and you guys are always so friendly and positive. That makes me feel that you should be my mod, because all of my mods are very friendly, nice, respectful, and that's the reason you guys are being my mod.
Well, we gotta get our
This view is not bad. Okay, someone said how much does it cost for the ride? It cost me $44, and it's a 2.5 hour of ride, if I'm not wrong. Some people are doing some sort of water activity. I can't open for one vendor build to open for public, so we can go top of that building and we can enjoy the beautiful view. That's my pleasure, Alex. No worries. Yeah, Brian, it's pretty good deal. And they are very informative. You'll get some nice history about each site. It's definitely worth it. We are getting close to the United Nations building. It's not far, it's right there. You can get a glimpse of that. They're having boat, that's nice as well. It's a beautiful day for this type of sightseeing activity. And if you are in New York City, I highly recommend to do one of these sightseeing cruise ride or boat ride, whatever you say. You will enjoy it for sure. And if you enjoyed this video so far, please give a like, and make sure if you haven't subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing as well. Oh, the water plane. Thank you, Shirley. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's a plain DTUK. Thanks for tuning in as well.
You're right, it's landing.
He's landing. Wow. Let's try to land. Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's land.
Now that's the way to arrive in Manhattan. That's the way to do it, huh? No traffic there. Look at that. You've been on a subway, right? Oh, they're so cool.
And there's a Queensborough Bridge that connects Queens and Manhattan. It's right there. And that's a Chrysler Building.
Hey,
Alec.
the
So
Empire
he's
State
back.
Building,
He's back.
middle of your
Excuse me,
left
sir.
shoulder. You're looking right up 34th Street. It's towering
Sorry.
above the rest. Tremendous antenna up top. That's the Empire State Building. Opened up in 1931. Yeah, 102 stories, 102 floors. By the way, a little over your left shoulder, right here on the waterfront, there's a brand new two-building apartment complex named the Copper Towers, made of glass and copper. You look right through them, there's the Empire State. And those buildings, those two buildings, a little higher than halfway up, there's a connecting skywalk adjoining the two, which has a swimming pool and a bar overlooking the East River. Opened up about 2 years ago. But really, you want to take a look up and into your left. You have the beautiful Chrysler Building now. Has that, that silver spire, Art Deco style. That's the Chrysler Building. It's on 42nd Street, Lexington Avenue. Oh, you know what? Right behind the Chrysler Building, brand new office building. Still working on it. But they raised that tower at the end of last year. The address is number 1 Vanderbilt. Office building, about 1,400 feet. When that building opens up, there'll be an observation deck up top named the Summit.
You know, take one of me smiling.
Hey, that Chrysler Building and number 1 Vanderbilt, they're right on 42nd Street. That's 42nd Street opening up. You can look straight across town. That's where we started this boat ride, on the other side of town. And right here on the waterfront, this is the United Nations headquarters. The first part of it, 40-story green glass building, the Secretariat. There's a long building along the water's front. That's the conference. And pretty good picture right here, too. A little quickie, but you'll be able to capture that with the United Nations. And just to wrap up the UN, building with that brown dome, kind of sweeps up on the side. That's the General Assembly. You know, when you enter the United Nations, you're leaving the country. It is not under New York City jurisdiction, international property.
That's a great information, by the way, for those who doesn't know about it. If you're inside of United Nations building, you're not in New York City officially. It's international property. This is so amazing, like an old New York City.
Coming up on your left side, we're approaching one of the more expensive neighborhoods of Manhattan. You're going to see these older brick
And
buildings.
that's
An area
Roosevelt
known as
Island.
Beekman Place. This is where Irving Berlin used to live here, is Beekman Place. You know who moved in here recently, a couple of years ago? You know, actress Uma Thurman. She lives over here on your left side. If you look over to your right side, straight across to your right, that's my house. That's where I live. A little fixer-upper outside my Brooklyn apartment. What you are looking at on your right side is an old Smallpox Hospital. Been here since the Civil War era. This building is landmark status. And by the way, this is Roosevelt Island on your right side. And you know what? A little over your right shoulder, you got a brand new park at the south tip of the island, 4 Freedoms Park, Franklin Delano Roosevelt Park. If you look over Roosevelt Island to your right, you are looking at the borough of Queens. That's
bro.
Long Island City, Queens.
I feel so proud to be a queen, sir.
But to get back to Roosevelt Island, it's a residential community, getting up on like 20,000 people. So
The cherry tree right here is blooming already.
There's actually 3 ways, but really the more popular way is by use of an aerial tram system. And yeah, hopefully we'll see some of the trams, because they cross over the East River just past this next bridge we're approaching. And this one here is the Ed Koch Queensborough 59th Street Bridge. Before we get to the bridge, on your right side, 4 brand new buildings. Cornell Tech. This was the brainchild of our former mayor, Michael Bloomberg. Ultimate goal to create 600 businesses, which in fact will create thousands and thousands of jobs. There's 3 more buildings to go. Not anytime soon, 2037, projected completion point. All right, here you have the Queensborough Bridge. When you sail out from underneath this bridge, yeah, if you look up, you can see the cable set up for that tram system. And if you look over your right shoulder, it looks like there is a tram right now descending into the station, if you kind of look over your right shoulder. And by the way, not the greatest look at that tram, but it may not look all that big. They can carry over 120 people.
That's a great information, as well. That's a
the whole
great
new system, by the way. Shut
information.
down for years, got a whole new tram system.
100 people.
Every time I see
Wow.
one of those trams cross over, I think that there was a movie back in the 80s with Billy D. Williams and Sylvester Stallone called Nighthawks, one of these early 80 movies. Looking at Roosevelt Island, I mentioned about 20,000 people. Roosevelt Island used to be known as Welfare Island. It was covered with nothing but hospitals and prisons. Hey, before that, it was known as Blackwell Island. It was owned by a family named the Blackwells. And those Blackwells used to live straight across to your right. If you look above the lawn, through a little over your right shoulder, an old gray farmhouse goes back over 200 years. That's where the Blackwells lived, where they owned the island. This apartment complex been around for a while. A little courtyard is opening up on your right. There's an old red brick church, goes back about 100 years. It's a growing residential community. Nice place to live. Hey, if you want to get back to Manhattan, you have a bunch of hospitals. Straight across to your left, New York Hospital. Right behind it, Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Right next to it, you have the Hospital for Special Surgery, specializing in sports medicine. And this hospital, year after year, gets voted one of the top hospitals for orthopedic surgery in the country. So you have this tall, dark building on your left, a brand new apartment building, not so new, probably about 10, 15 years, but number 1 East River Place. Right next to it is a brand new building, not fully opened yet. And when it was first going up, we're thinking, yeah, apartments. But look on the lower left corner, Memorial Sloan Kettering Outpatient Center. Very interesting design. Perkins Eastman is the architect. And real quick, after Hurricane Sandy, all these buildings are designed to withstand a natural disaster. Like the mechanical floors and the generators on higher levels. If by chance they lose power, up top of that building, there are micro turbines, which would create 35% of the electricity for the building.
That's awesome. That's really a great
In
architecture.
just a second, we're going to get a little glimpse of Central Park here from the East River. Up ahead to your left, there's a pretty wide street opening up. That's 79th Street. And as it opens up, take a look. It's going to be a very quickie look, but you will get a little peek of Central Park. All right, there's 79th Street. It's opening up now. And you look up 79th Street, you can see the trees of Central Park right about there. Right there, there's Central Park. I am obviously more excited about this than you are. However, this is an 850-acre park. It is right in the middle of Manhattan City landmark. Oh, if you got the kids, the Central Park Zoo is phenomenal. They did a nice redo, I don't know, probably like 25, 30 years ago. It's been that long, but it's they did a phenomenal job. Oh, if you want to take a quick look back over to Roosevelt Island, up ahead to your right, there's a lighthouse at the north tip of the island. It's the Blackwell Lighthouse. This lighthouse was designed by a man named James Renwick. And just throwing that name out, but if it rings a bell, he also designed St. Patrick's Cathedral on Fifth Avenue, as well as that old Smallpox Hospital we saw back at the south end of the island. Hey, if you want to get back over to Manhattan, we're coming up on Gracie Mansion, home of our New York City mayor. So you're going to see there's a flagpole up ahead to your left. So yeah, right behind this flagpole, coming into view now, yellow farmhouse, green shutters. Yeah, that's Gracie Mansion. Built in 1799, designed by Archibald Gracie. So when the mayors of New York City, when they're in office, this is where they live. They do not own the building. They only live here when they're in office. The recreational building for the park behind it. And you know what? If you look over your left shoulder, you will get kind of a decent straight-on shot. You look right through the trees. A big house, by the way, 24 rooms. Yeah, these commuter boats, we're passing one on your left, New York City. First of all, same price as a ride on a subway or a bus, $2.75, good deal. And they'll take it at different locations throughout the city. You're expanding on our commuter boats.
That's the alternative way to explore Manhattan from water.
Right now, by the way, we're sailing on a body of water known as Hellgate, which is a very treacherous body of water. Very strong currents are found here, really because it merges three waterways. We're sort of leaving the East River right now. Actually, if you look to your right, the East River is veering off to your right, and eventually the East River will run into the Long Island Sound. Straight ahead of us is the Harlem River. So these three bodies of water kind of merge right here, and if you look down, whether it be left or right side, you can see some whirlpool action. But yeah, this is Hellgate. We have some more hospitals back over here on your left side. Big complex, kind of green tinted windows, Metropolitan Hospital. There's a tall, dark building set back behind it. That's Mount Sinai Hospital. It's on 5th Avenue at 100th Street, Mount Sinai. That is where my two little cuties were born, both 15 and 18 years ago. Crazy. Real quick look back over to your right side, two bridges. The first one you see is the RFK, or Tri-Borough Bridge. Gets you to three boroughs, Manhattan, Queens, and the Bronx. The bridge behind the Tri-Borough, the one with the arch shape to it, the Hellgate Railroad Bridge. Oh, I mentioned the East River, bearing off to your right side. If you heard of Rikers Island, the prison, you can't see it from here, but it's not too far up that East River. So this bridge we're approaching, this is the Ward's Island pedestrian footbridge. You walk across it from Manhattan, and yeah, that's Ward's Island over there on your right. This is a vertical lift bridge. If you look across the face of this bridge, you're going to see it reads clearance 55 feet above MHW. Needs a bit of a paint job. But MHW stands for mean high water. When the tide is at its highest or its meanest, if this boat were higher than 55 feet, you see the cables on the inner parts of the towers. Yeah, they would lift this bridge straight up for us. Vertical lift bridge. And this bridge was used as their yellow brick road in a movie called The Wiz. Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Nipsey Russell, he's on down the road. I think it was like 1977. I guess about 5 years before The Wiz came out, they released a movie with Gene Hackman. It was called The French Connection. At the end of that movie, they trapped all the smugglers on an island. One guy escaped, one guy got away. On your right side, that's where he escaped to. In fact, that's him on the bike with the red shirt. He's still on the run. They filmed the last scenes of that movie, The French Connection, here on Ward's Island. And we are now sailing on the Harlem River. And on your left side, yeah, we're approaching Harlem. Harlem runs from 110th Street to 168th Street. Cuts east to west. Named after a town in Holland named Harlem. And by the way, these apartments on your left, award-winning in their design. You see how they kind of sweep away from the river. Gives almost everyone a view of the Harlem River. And you know what, if you look up ahead to your left, there's a school right on the waterfront. You can see the tower from here. Formerly Benjamin Franklin High School. But, you know, back in the 80s, they were shooting for higher education. Now it's the Manhattan Center for Science and Mathematics. You know, if you look across the street from that school, sort of behind that school, there's a 7-story apartment building. You'll notice there are 3 columns up front. If you look at the first level of that building, right on the corner, you're going to see there's a red sign with white letters. That's actually an Italian restaurant. And that is the most difficult restaurant to get a reservation for in all of New York City. The name of it is Rayo's. You may have purchased their sauce in the supermarket. But you can, maybe you can get in. Maybe they just don't let me in. But it's a very difficult try to get into that restaurant. You know, actor Leonardo DiCaprio a few years ago, he was in a movie, real kid-friendly movie, fun for the whole family, good Disney fun. There was a scene in that movie where he met up with his attorney, and they had dinner in this tiny little restaurant at this tiny little table. I'm making a very short story long, but that's the restaurant, ladies. When I come back, we got a lot more to talk about in Harlem, and we're also going to be seeing Yankee Stadium. So I'll see you guys, yes, in just a little bit. And again, that cafe is open downstairs. Hey, just a reminder, especially if you're out and about, you want to wear your masks. You know, if you're walking down to the cafe or you go into the restroom, wearing the masks as well. We do thank you for that. Oh, and by the way, yeah, real quick on your right side, this is Randall's Island. Huge sports island. You see those blue stands, bleachers? Icon Stadium. It's an official 400-meter track and field, but 36 ball fields.
You remember that Luminosity Festival? It was in there. In Christmas time, I did a tour of Luminosity Festival where I showed some different lights, decoration. It was there. It was there. It was really another great experience with you guys. It's very nice and relaxing boat ride. Thank you, Ronald. Appreciate. People are waving at them, so they are waving back to them as well. Thank you, I appreciate it. I try my best to give you guys as unique experience as I could, to ride different stuff, to walk in different neighborhoods and show you guys the best of New York City. So I hope you guys are enjoying this type of videos. So please consider subscribing to this channel and make this channel as big as you can. And please share this video with your friends and family member as well. Thank you, Andrew Says, for your $5 super chat. Appreciate that as well. Thank you so much. And you can check out my video description box as well. You will find my PayPal and Patreon link. If you are kind enough, you can be my Patreon, or you can do some donation via PayPal as well. But I highly appreciate all the love and support from you guys. Thank you so much. Aaron said, is there anywhere I haven't gone? I'll explore with you guys. I had the Cash App link in my video description box as well. You can check that out as well, my friend. Yes, this is Harlem. Towards my left, Greg. I have a full tour of New York Botanical Garden at Bronx. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure check out my channel and watch that video as well. It was another great experience in that particular park. It was wonderful, especially in spring. As I said, for the ticket, it cost me $44 for one passenger. Yeah. Thank you, Jap. I appreciate your kindness, and I really thankful to you. Yes, Bill. This is a multi-deck boat, and I am on the second floor. Oh, that's very low. Yeah, James, $44, 2 hour of ride, it's worth it. It's like a 2.5 hour, I believe, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I'm moving my camera in different direction accordingly, so you can see everything, whatever I am seeing. But unfortunately, I can't do a live stream with 360-degree camera. Then you can see whatever you wants to see. Hey Ollie, this cruise depart from Pier 83, and yeah. Yeah, we are getting back towards Hudson Yard, because this is the map you are seeing towards your left. We start from the boat. You see a boat on the left. That's Pier 83. We start from there and we go all the way to the Statue of Liberty, and now we are approaching towards Yankee Stadium, and then we'll go back to Pier 83. That's the whole tour for $44. Hey Maria, good afternoon. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. This bridge is low too. Hey Joe from Mexico, thank you so much. I need to add a power bank to my phone, so give me just 1 minute. Hopefully it's charging. Yeah, it's charging. We are good to go. Hey Benito, thanks for tuning in as well. The good thing about this kind of sightseeing, if you had a partner, you can sit relaxedly and you can enjoy the beautiful environment, beautiful New York City. And if you haven't watched my bus tour I did in Christmas, you can do that. Just go to my channel and check out the video playlist. You will find a big bus tour ride I did during Christmas. It was another great experience I will definitely recommend if you are visiting New York City. I know the volume is down because I had to remove my external microphone, and I had to attach power bank so my phone can charge up. That's the reason volume is down now. Sorry about that, guys. That's the Yankee Stadium. It's right there. The Yankee Stadium. Thank you, James. I appreciate it. But the reason the sound might be lower than it used to because of the power bank, otherwise I'll get disconnected from you guys. And I don't want to do that.
Yes, get your cameras going. Get your cell phone cameras out. Up ahead to your right side, Yankee Stadium, the home of my beautiful New York Yankees baseball team. This is the new stadium. It opened up in 2009. And by the way, this new stadium was built right across the street from the old one. If you look a little over your right shoulder, you see there's a smokestack. First of all, they shaped it like a baseball bat. There's a handle on top. There's the tape wrapped around. It used to have the Louisville Slugger emblem on the bottom of it. But yeah, they shaped that smokestack like a baseball bat. And yeah, that smokestack was basically directly opposite the main entrance of the original Yankee Stadium, which was built in 1923. Nicknamed the house that Ruth built. Babe Ruth, his fans packed the stadium every day. So they rebuilt Yankee Stadium in 1973. It took 2.5 years to do it at the cost of $120 million. This new ballpark had the price tag of $2.5 billion. Crazy money, $2.5 billion. Hey, if you look through the trees, take a look at Yankee Stadium. Take a good look at that stadium. Because you are looking at not only the home of this year's 2021 World Series champions, but you are looking at the home of the greatest team in the history of baseball. 27 World Series championships, 40 pennants. Judging by your silence, you're not very big Yankee fans. And they actually won 2 or 3 in a row. Strike up the band. If we can stay on the topic of baseball, the San Francisco Giants, amazingly in second place right now, but before they moved to San Francisco, they used to play baseball straight across to your left. They played in a stadium here in Harlem known as the Polo Grounds. The stadium has been replaced. There's a school here now, apartment complex, but yeah, this is where the Giants play ball. The Dodgers, before moving to Los Angeles, played baseball in Brooklyn, Ebbets Field. And hey, we're still in Harlem here on your left side. This section of Harlem up top the hill kind of curves over your left shoulder. It's an area known as Coogan's Bluff or Sugar Hill. And so many famous people coming out of this residential neighborhood, including Cab Calloway and Roy Wilkins and Duke Ellington. And really, one of the most famous streets in New York City is up here in Harlem, 125th Street. That's where you're going to find the Apollo Theater, where so many people got their starts at the Apollo. The National Urban League, this historic civil rights organization, their headquarters are on Pine Street, Lower Manhattan. They're moving uptown next year to 125th Street, new 21,000 square foot facility. I think it's 2022. There are more churches and museums in this neighborhood of Harlem than any other neighborhood in Manhattan. Sugar Hill, Coogan's Bluff, Harlem on your left. On your right side, hey, you got the Bronx. You know what? If you want to, you don't have to, but if you do look over your right shoulder, you're going to see a building back there that has a lighthouse up top. That lighthouse is the trademark for the Wilson Company. It's a publishing house. They've been here for years. I don't know, about 5 years ago they skipped town. Now it's like a self-storage facility. But yeah, that lighthouse was the trademark for the Wilson Company. You know, actor Joaquin Phoenix, a couple years ago, he won the Academy Award for portraying the Joker in that movie, The Joker, which when that was released, was advertised as the feel-good movie of the year. But there was a scene in that movie where the Joker was kind of dancing down these stairs. Those stairs are on your right side. You can't see it from the boat. If you're on the 4 train, you go by Yankee Stadium, 161st Street, then you hit 167th Street. You get off at that stop, you walk a couple of blocks down. That staircase became quite the tourist attraction. It still probably is. Oh, you know, the Bronx is the only borough of New York City that's connected to the mainland of America. All these other boroughs are islands. Manhattan is an island. Same thing goes with Staten Island. So Brooklyn and Queens, they're on the western tip of Long Island, which runs east about 100 miles. So that makes the Bronx, the only borough connected to the mainland. Hey, you take a look straight ahead. This next bridge we're about to sail under, the name of it is High Bridge, and this is the oldest bridge around Manhattan Island. Opened up in 1848. It was originally an aqueduct. Used to carry water across the bridge with help from that stone tower up top the hill to your left. That's an old water pump tower up there. You see the scaffolding. They kind of renovated a couple of years ago. There was a tremendous fire, so they fixed it up, and they're doing the same now. But yeah, it's an old water pump tower. Now there's a big park up there on your left side. There's a swimming pool now, but it used to be a reservoir, and you used to get water across this bridge. And for years, this bridge was closed to pedestrians. And for years, they were saying they're going to reopen the bridge, and they finally came true to that promise. That was about 3-4 years ago. But yeah, you can walk over the oldest bridge around Manhattan. When you sail out from underneath this bridge, if you look up top the hill to your left, you're going to see some apartment buildings. There's 4 of them in all. They're called the Bridge Apartments. And those apartment buildings are built right over a 12-lane super highway. There's a highway that goes right underneath those apartment buildings. So instead of having a laundry room in their basement, they have a traffic jam. And that's really not too far from the truth, because the next bridge we're about to sail under, which is the Alexander Hamilton Bridge. But if you drive over this bridge from the Bronx, it will take you directly across Manhattan, underneath those apartment buildings, and hook you up with the George Washington Bridge, which is always a traffic nightmare. Especially yesterday, it was a 2.5-hour wait to get over that bridge. And by the way, we're going to be sailing under that George Washington Bridge pretty soon. We're getting close to the north end of Manhattan. We'll be back on the Hudson River, and yeah, then we'll see that GW Bridge, but it's basically directly across town from the spot. So this bridge, this Alexander Hamilton, relatively new, 1963. The next one we're coming up on is the 3rd oldest around the island. It's the Washington Traffic Bridge. Oh, we're now in a section of Manhattan on your left side known as Washington Heights. We've left Harlem, this is Washington Heights. This was the neighborhood that inspired the Tony Award-winning musical In the Heights. You know, Lin-Manuel Miranda, they made a movie of that Tony Award-winning show, and it's coming out, I think, in June. And by the way, if you see that movie, there's a terrific scene in a swimming pool. And that we sail past that old bridge, that tower. You look for that tower in the swimming pool. That's where they shot the scenes from that upcoming movie. Brown building up top the hill to your left, the Belfer Science Building of Yeshiva University. Yeshiva is the oldest Jewish institute of higher education. That's the Belfer Science Building of Yeshiva. A little over your left shoulder, there's a building under construction, kind of multicolored, radio tower and hotel, opening up here in Washington Heights in a couple of years. And if you stay with your left side, really, you get a very good look at what Manhattan Island is made out of, you know, solid rock, solid bedrock. That's why we can build the high skyscrapers that we do. They're not concerned about the buildings settling at all because they're resting on top of, you know, solid bedrock foundation. The name of this rock, by the way, they call it Manhattan Schist. And don't ever try saying that with a few cocktails inside you. S-C-H-I-S-T, schist. And Manhattan is full of it. And the sad part is that was the best joke of the day. On your right side, a couple of high-rise apartment buildings, the Harlem River Park Towers. Hey, these apartment buildings are built as part of a 55-acre state park named after Roberto Clemente. Clemente, one of the great ball players of all time. He used to play right field with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Unfortunately, he died in a plane crash. He was flying to Nicaragua to help earthquake victims. Unfortunately, his plane went down. It was New Year's Eve. I think it was 71, 72. So they dedicated this park to him. And by the way, they just shored up the sea. He did, you got some playground action, basketball courts. That long building up ahead to your right is a school. And in front of the school, there's a swimming pool. But yeah, this is all part of Roberto Clemente State Park here in Bronx. Take a quick look back over to Manhattan. There's a school up top the hill to your left. In fact, you'll see a tower with some scaffolding surrounding it. Oh, a little over your left shoulder, but that's George Washington High School. A lot of famous people graduating from the school, including, going back a little bit, but actress Lee Grant, singer, actor, activist Harry Belafonte, baseball star Rod Carew, Henry Kissinger graduated from here. And you know, he passed away, I think it was like 10 years ago, but comedian George Carlin. He didn't graduate from here, but he went to school here and lived in northern Manhattan, went to school here. You know, singer-actress Bette Midler. She did not graduate from here, but a number of years ago, she created her restoration project, where she basically takes like these empty locations, empty lots, and creates beautiful park space out of it. Hey, both hands on the wheel there, my friend. On your left side, this is the Peter J. Sharp Boathouse. She brought this here about 10 years ago. Now, during the summer, kids finally utilized the Harlem River. See them paddling up and down the river. And on your left, this beautiful park was a dumping ground. Abandoned cars and garbage left here for years. She cleaned it out, did a nice job by Bette Midler here. You're going to see some apartment buildings coming up on your left. If you look really through the first two, you're going to see there's a stone tower rising above the trees. And if you can see that tower on your left side, right there. That's the Cloisters Museum. That museum is on the other side of Manhattan. It's right on the Hudson River front. The reason it looks so close is because it is. This is the narrowest part of Manhattan. It's an area known as Dyckman Valley. Right here, Manhattan, yeah, certainly less than a half a mile wide. And we'll get another look at that museum when we head back down the Hudson on the way home. This is a substation power plant on your left side. Try to pretty up the buildings, sails on the facade. Want to take a look back over to the Bronx, up top of the hill to your right. Kind of a yellow building, shaded windows. It's the Bronx Community College. It was formerly a campus of New York University. Now solely belongs to the Bronx. There's a building up top of the hill that you can see the scaffolding working on it. But that's the American houses bronze statues of outstanding and distinguished Americans, such as Washington Irving, Booker T. Washington, Susan B. Anthony. There's like 103 statues up there in all. And actually get a better look at it now too, over your right shoulder as it comes out from behind the trees. In order to get in the American Hall of Fame, of course you have to be an American citizen, but the most important thing, you have to have done something outstanding, worthwhile, or distinguished. And they started taking my measurements 2 weeks ago. Have you noticed we've been sailing under a number of very low bridges? This bridge in front of us is the University Heights Bridge. Oh, we saw that vertical lift bridge earlier. This one here is a swing turnstile. If you look to your left side, the center pavilion of the bridge, you're going to see the wheels connected to it. Those wheels would literally turn this bridge open if needed. Hey, by the way, during our boat ride today, we're sailing under 19 bridges during our ride. However, there are 20 bridges around Manhattan Island altogether. One of those bridges will have to open up for us. It's a railroad bridge. It goes right over the river, and we'll be there in a few minutes. But yeah, we're sailing under 19, but you got 20 bridges linking Manhattan with the outside world. On your left side, another, from Hurricane Sandy, building up the seawall around what is a subway yard. And they bring trains to repair them, to clean them, fix them up. Take the old ones, they chop them up into scrap metal, recycle, reuse. So, going back a little bit, but some of our older trains were loaded onto barges. In fact, right here on the Harlem River. So they took these barges out to the Atlantic Ocean, a little bit farther south. It was off Delaware. But they were used to create an artificial reef for marine life, some of our old trains.
Hey, Daryl.
Now, pre-pandemic, we
tuning
were
in.
up to about 5 million people would ride the New York City subway trains every workday. We're somewhere around a quarter of that now, but things are kind of slowly, building up again. If you want to take the longest subway ride in New York City, you can hop off right here. You're going to grab the A train right here. Takes you south through downtown into Brooklyn. You'll wind up in Far Rockaway, Queens, like a 30-mile subway train. When you get back over to the Bronx, up top the hill to your right, got a silver building. The Kingsbridge Veterans Hospital provides general, surgical, psychiatric service to all veterans from the Bronx, New York, parts of Westchester County.
Thank you.
Oh, I'll tell you how the Bronx got the name
for
of
your
Bronx.
$5. Appreciate it.
There was a Swedish mariner. His name was Jonas Bronk. He married a Dutch girl. In fact, they owned farmland in what's now known as the Mott Haven section of the Bronx. So Jonas Bronk, he spelled his last name B-R-O-N-C-K. If someone wanted to visit them, they would say, hey, let's go visit the Bronx. Let's go check out the Bronx land. And it stuck. I mean, you don't call Manhattan the Manhattan. You don't call Queens the Queens, but you do call the Bronx, and that is a true story. Not all of my stories are true, but that one happens to be so. If you have the kids, with or without the kids again, one of the best zoos in the country is just a couple of miles up the hill to your right, the Bronx Zoo. 4,000 animals, 650 different species of animal. Beautiful botanical gardens, both back open. The original Little Italy, Arthur Avenue, up on the Bronx. And there is a bridge in front of us. This next bridge here is the Broadway Bridge. And this bridge happens to be the lowest bridge we sail under during this boat ride. Once you hook around the bend here, if you look across the face of this bridge, you'll see it reads clearance 24 feet above MHW. This boat is 23 feet 11 inches. When the tide is high, we skim this bridge by less than an inch. And the tide is high right now. Very high. So listen, if you're sitting back there in the top deck, I think you better duck down a little bit. If you are the nervous type, cross your fingers and close your eyes. Like the captain does. Let's see if we'll make it here today. This bridge. Pigeons underneath this bridge position themselves strategically for these slow-moving circle and boat rides. So we have two obstacles. We'll see if we'll make it here today. This is the lowest bridge. made the bridge again. Once again, we cheated death. We had it by probably closer than you may think. If you look on your right side, you see the water line here, and you're thinking, what? The highest point on this boat is right behind me, the wheelhouse. So, and incidentally, on your right side, check out the station's name, Marble Hill. That's the name of this neighborhood, and because that is marble on your right side. Not the best in the world, but that is marble. On your left side, you got a big sports field open. If you look through the trees, bleachers and stands and lighting structures. But this is Baker Field, used by Columbia University. This is where they have their outside sporting events. Got the big football games going on, and up ahead to your left, you see these air domes. They're tennis courts. But yeah, it's all part of Roberto Baker Field Park. Take a look over to your right side. If you look up ahead to your right, you're going to see there's a rock that has a great big split going down the center of it. They call that ingenious. They blasted the center away with dynamite. You see they laid the tracks down here. Metro North goes through here. But yeah, blasted the center away with dynamite. Hey, there's a big blue C that's painted across the face of Split Rock. The C stands for Columbia, as in university. Students of Columbia would hang from ropes from the top of the rock and paint the C on. It took them 10 years to do it. Every time they started painting the C on, the police would come and chase them away. But they got the okay. They put a fresh coat on from time to time, and I think it's time. On your left side, you got a bit of history here. There's a cove opening up. This is the Henry Hudson Cove. This is where Henry Hudson reportedly moored his ship, the Half Moon, before venturing farther north on the Hudson. And by the way, that's why this next bridge we're about to sail under was named after him. This is the Henry Hudson Memorial Bridge. Oh, if you look straight ahead, the only bridge that swings open for the boat ride, you can see it's in the open position already. Our captain radios a few minutes in advance to the bridge tender, just to let him know that we're coming through. Sometimes we have to wait a moment or two, or even a lot longer, for a north or southbound train to cross. So anyway, you see it's open now. We got the clearance. We'll be sailing on the bridge. You know, the fellow who swings this bridge, if it's Isaac, he comes out and waves to us. The other guys, for whatever reason, don't acknowledge us at all. And he gives us a wave, and we like to give him one back. And so if it is Isaac, he's going to be on your left side, the swing part of the bridge. There's a center of the bridge right up top. There's a little workstation here. And yeah, not these windows here facing north, but if you look above the stairwell, the door is closed and we're getting the cold shoulder again. I'm sorry about that. Usually a huge highlight. We are, however, back on the Hudson River once again. Hey, on your left side, there's the George Washington Bridge. But before up the Hudson River Valley, hey, you see those smokestacks off in the distance? That's Yonkers, New York. Unfortunately, rapper DMX passed away, was the last week. Grew up in Yonkers. He was living just west of it now in Mount Vernon. And also Yonkers also is where Mary J. Blige grew up too. And yeah, you know what, kind of a haze here today, but if you have a pair of good eyes, if you look over your right shoulder up the Hudson, you can barely see the span and the towers of a bridge. It is the Mario Cuomo Bridge. It replaced the Tappan Zee Bridge. That's not Nyack, New York, but Tarrytown, New York, but yeah, 13 miles from here. On your right side, the state of New Jersey, once again. These are the cliffs of the Palisades, and they go up 400 feet above water level. They extend like 35 miles north. But hey, you want to get back to Manhattan. Hey, some people, when you think of Manhattan, Broadway shows and skyscrapers, paved roads, right? This is a beautiful wood. This is in Woodhill Park, beautiful wooded area. You know, the Native American Indians, they named the island Manhattan. It's an old Indian word, and it means island of hills. And maybe this is where the Indians got that name from, because there are Indian trails that date back on a sidebar. Terrific museum in Lower Manhattan, the Smithsonian Museum on the Native American Indian, if you get a chance. Speaking of museums, if you look up ahead to your left, there is the Cloisters Museum. So a little while ago from the Harlem River. It's a branch of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Within it, it houses its medieval collection, statues and paintings and religious artwork. So this building itself is made up of European monasteries, castles, church. All of these different separate pieces were brought over from Europe and reassembled. So, you know, not only beautiful on both inside and out. All right, next and last bridge of the day in front of us. That is the George Washington Bridge, opened up in 1931. That's Fort Meade, New Jersey. On the Manhattan side, you're back in Washington Heights. Do you know the story of the Miracle on the Hudson? I think it was 12 years ago. An airplane landed safely on this river. You may have seen the movie with Tom Hanks. The name of the movie is Sully, which I thought turned out to be a good movie. Tom Hanks portrayed Captain Chesley Sullenberger. He was the pilot that, and I'm going to show you exactly where he landed that plane. It's actually just north of our pier. However, if you saw the movie especially, that plane without engines came very close to a bridge. This is the one right here. He departed out of LaGuardia Airport, which is in Queens. He hit the flock of Canada geese, you know the whole story. But right over this bridge, and I'll show you guys later on exactly where he put it in, but this was the bridge. And before I put the mic down, one last quick thing. If you look under the Manhattan Tower of the GW Bridge, there's a little Red Lighthouse. Hildegard Swift wrote a famous children's storybook. It's called The Little Red Lighthouse. And the Great Gray Bridge, man, when my kids were younger, they loved it. But if it wasn't for the kids, this lighthouse would be gone. When the bridge went up, the lighthouse became obsolete. They were going to tear it down. But because of the love of that book by children, they wrote in letters and they signed petitions and they kept the lighthouse alive. In fact, it is a landmark now. But yeah, that's the Little Red Lighthouse, and that is the Great Gray Bridge, and that's it for me. I'm going to put the microphone down. When I come back, we're going to be at Grant's Tomb. That'll be next on the left side. And I do want to give you a heads up. It's not going to happen right away, but pretty soon they're going to start to shut down the cafe and the restrooms. So if you do want to do a last, beer run or bathroom break, it doesn't have to be at this moment, but pretty soon you want to make a last trip downstairs before they close up shop. And we'll see you guys at Grant's Tomb in a little bit.
So we got some break once again for the last time. If anyone want to grab some free drinks or food, they can do so, but I'm not. It's a bit windy here, as you can see. It's so windy. I hope you guys can hear me properly. Let me know if the audio is clear or not. That's the Washington Bridge. We are approaching towards that way, and hopefully no one will blow away because the wind is so high. Yes, Maria, I'm dressed warmly. Not that warm, but I'm pretty warm to make myself comfortable for sure. Hey Christine, thanks for tuning in. It was a wonderful boat experience. I hope so. It's not gonna be a happen, Vignesh. You will hear a lot of wind noise because again I have to connect my phone to my power bank before he came and start the commentary once again. That's the breeze right here. Yeah, this cruise is perfect for a hot summer day. Very excited. I'm trying to reduce the noise of wind. I again connect my external microphone. So that's the breeze, guys. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is GWB, George Washington Bridge. Yeah, they are going inside and maybe some of them will grab some food for the last time before the cafe closed up. That's why the seats are more empty now because it's very windy and some people didn't add any sort of layer or anything to make themselves warm. So they are getting inside because the tour is almost done. There is nothing to see or explore. Everything is done. We're just approaching towards the pier and that's all. The ferry will be stopped at Pier 83. From where it started, it will be exactly stopped there. You can also take this boat ride during night, so you can get the night view of Manhattan. They had a cheaper price for that. You had a different option. You can go to check their website, Circle Line Cruise. You will find all valuable information that you need for doing this type of sightseeing boat ride, if I said it correctly. Yeah, during night, Maria, it would be beautiful, but it would be very hard to see throughout the camera. But if you are experienced in person, then that's a different issue. That's more better. Hey, Patrick. look at all those houses, tiny houses, farm close. I love those houses. They had a pretty good view. That was a wonderful experience with Circle Line cruise. That's awesome. Hey Elise NYC, thanks for tuning in. Let me go inside a bit now. Wow.
Yeah.
It's damp. Oh, I feel much warmer now. This is how it's looked like from inside. And this place will definitely protect you from wind, but that's not the best view. And the gentleman stand here and do the beautiful commentary he did throughout the journey. It was wonderful. He has a great knowledge of New York, and whatever he's doing it perfect. Winter, this place is nice. If you sit inside, maybe they had some sort of heat, because it's impossible to sit outside during winter. Oh wow, that's great, Brian. And if you look back, you will have a great view of George Washington Bridge. If you guys just remember when we started the ride, it was packed busy here at the deck, but now it's almost half of the people. Yeah, Jap, outside is much better. But it's a bit windy when we are at Hudson River. It's definitely lots of wind. So you have to bring some warmer layer, some jacket or anything that makes you feel warm. Don't forget to bring that up. And a quick tip, try to come early if you want to grab some seat outside. They suggest you to come around 30 minutes early. But I came here like 40 minutes early, but still I was late. I had to find my way to get a good sitting space. So I will suggest that come around 1 hour early. Yeah, it's cost $44 yeah, for the whole Manhattan Parameter ride. So this is what we just did. Start from Pier 83 and then all the way to Manhattan Parameter. You'll find all that information inside their website, so I do recommend to visit their website for all other information. Yeah, it's not that expensive. It's fair priced. Okay. No problem, Ronald. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I really appreciate everyone who are watching me and who make some donation via super chat. I really appreciate each and everyone, and I also appreciate all the moderators for helping me throughout the ride. So yeah, that's so kind of you guys. And before you leave, I mean, make sure to give a like to this video and hit the subscribe button, so it can motivate me to do video like that. It's so windy that I just can't talk properly. Oh my goodness. But thank you, James. That's so kind of you. I appreciate. The wind is getting even higher as we approach toward the pier. Same to you, Chris. Have a great weekend. Let's go towards town. Let's see. Let's go to the lower deck. Oh wow, that's awesome. That's better. Here. This was a nice place as well, and that's a lower deck. People are sitting here. I think the cafe is closed already. This is the cafe right here. And this is how it's looked like from the lower deck. And the restroom is right there. They had a restroom as well. So the restroom is right there. You have to go down. Now let's go to the front of the boat. So this is the front view you will see. Oh wow, it's so windy, and this is the front part basically. Definitely, it's better. It's better than the other side. Wow.
And yeah, hey, beautiful Riverside Church, one of the largest French Gothic in the yard.
It's so
74 bells. Small bells. Large bells. And also, people have to get on the union and village arts, the fellowship of people who come involved in the neighborhood community. By the way, we're on the upper west side of the map, right? A lot of the nice buildings are on the upper west side. And you can really tell the old buildings until you've seen it throughout the world.
wow.
If you look up top these buildings, you see all these big tanks up there.
This is also nice. You can see some waves.
They say it becomes difficult to pump water above any story higher than 6.
Yeah, why not? Let's see the tour guide who did this amazing job. So let's see. Who is that guy?
And then it becomes a rapid force pressure system all the way down. And you know what? Every tall building
Oh
has
wow,
at least
the wind
one
is
more.
here.
Glass buildings, it looks as though they don't have them, but they do. For the most part, the newer buildings hide them. They cover them up. They build around them. But yeah, if a building is over 6 stories,
That's
you'll
the
find
man
that
behind the
more.
microphone.
Although, you know, the water tank up at my building in Brooklyn is filled with martinis. I'm very lucky. Speaking of tall buildings, you want to look south and east, down and over to your left. There are three very tall, very skinny buildings. Captain calls them the stick buildings. They're all on 57th Street. If you want to start with the one furthest east to the left, tall building, it's got these little cubed windows. It's an apartment building. The address is 4. So that building's rooftop, just short of 1,400 feet, which makes that rooftop higher than the Empire State. It is taller than #1 World Trade Center without the antennas. I mentioned the antennas go higher, but the rooftop on this one is higher than those two. And I don't know if you've been following this whole romance between former New York Yankee Alex Rodriguez and singer-actress Jennifer Lopez. They're on again, they're off again. Looks like they're off right now, but when they first started courting, let's say a year into their relationship, the two of them together purchased a $15 million home in that building. That's the
Thank you, Mario. Appreciate it.
Park Avenue. And I'm sure that's the information you've been waiting 2 hours to hear. Finally, some good information from this guy. All right, you go to the skinny building right in the middle there. Still working on it, got a crane up top. That's the Steinway Tower, Steinway Pier. Yeah, their original building on 57th Street. They built above it. So that building, they're boasting to be the skinniest skyscraper in the world. Now, I don't know what the height to width ratio is, but yeah, that's what their claim to fame is, the skinniest skyscraper in the world. You know what? If it's okay, I'm going to get back to those skinny buildings, but a couple of things. First of all, this is Riverside Park on your left. And it just reminded me, I don't think I mentioned, but we saw it when we first left our pier, but have you had a chance to visit the Highline Park? If you have, I love it, and I'm sorry I didn't bring it up earlier. It starts down at 34th Street, but long story short, there's this old elevated cargo rail system which hadn't been used in years. Instead of tearing it down, they created this Highline Park. Kind of zigzags from 34th Street, but you wind up in the meatpacking district south of 14th Street. I'm looking at Riverside Park here, and I'm like, I forgot to mention the High Line, but if you got a chance, it's a couple of days in the city worthwhile. But yeah, this is Riverside Park. They're working on it now, but down the road, you're going to be able to ride a bicycle all the way around Manhattan Island, the 28-mile bike path. If you're on your bicycle, you're heading south on the other side of the park, you're going to run into Hudson River, and that's going to hook you around Battery Park. And they're working along parks along the East River, and you may have seen a Harlem along the Harlem River, but yeah, eventually a 28-mile bike path along there. So staying on those lines, Manhattan Island in length is 13 miles long. From the southern tip, Battery Park, beautiful Inwood Hill Park up north, you got 13 miles. Over on the subject of population of Manhattan Island, about 1 million. That's the 5 boroughs. State, you're looking at New York City, looking at 8.6 million. Manhattan Island is 1.5 million. About 1 million. 5 boroughs, about 8.6 million. And yeah, New York State, somewhere between 19, 20 million, somewhere in the markets. Hey, real quick, just a touch over your left shoulder, there's a monument rising above the trees at Riverside Park. It's the Soldiers and Sailors Monument, erected in 1902 to the Union Army of the Civil War. So the original location for this monument is going to be off 59th Street Central. It opened up here after the opening ceremonies. You know, Civil War veterans, they just started, which turned out to be our very first Memorial Day parade. Used to start here at the monument every year.
Sorry about the wind noise,
Oh,
guys.
straight across to your left, there's a kind of a big buff-colored apartment building. It's got these 2 tanks up top, which, by the way, inside those towers are water tanks. Emery Roth, this building opened up in 1938. He designed so many apartment buildings and hotels, and he kind of had that signature 2-tower sort of Art Deco style. In fact, one of them is off Central Park, named the San Remo, where celebrities at one point in time lived in that building. Mary Tyler Moore, Steven Spielberg, Tiger Woods. Oh, straight across to your left, you got an orange-colored apartment building. has 2 water tanks up top. That's where Babe Ruth used to live, one of the greats from the Yankees.
Hey Gigi NYC, thanks for tuning in.
And if you look up ahead to your left, there is a boat marina. This is the 79th Street Marina.
I had just
a number of
10%
families live on
battery
these boats
left.
year-round. They rent
So
the space out. like
if
they
I
do
got
in Farm
disconnected
Store.
from you guys, so sorry about that.
If you remember, we were sailing up the East River. We took
But
a
we
look
are
at
almost at the
79th
end
Street.
of
We
this
caught a little peek at Central
ferry
Park.
ride.
We
I
would
mean,
like
cruise
to
ride.
recreate that excitement and look up 79th Street from the west side.
Hope you guys enjoy
And
that.
you see that
And
stone wall
again,
over
thank
there,
you so much
which, by the way,
everyone for tuning in.
It actually
If I got disconnected,
sort of shut down before COVID.
That's it.
But it
Thanks
was
for
a
tuning in.
terrific place to grab a bite to eat or a drink. It's called the Boat Basin Cafe.
But till
Hopefully
then,
somebody takes over the space. But that's
just
79th Street
exploring
behind that
that.
marina. And if you look up this street, you're going to see a building right in the middle of the street. In fact, there's a crane right behind it. But you see that brick wall? That is the American Museum of Natural History. That's the museum where you find the dinosaur, the
Yeah.
structure of the
I had a
whale, the
video
Star of
also
India.
inside of
That's the
American Museum of
where it
Natural
takes
History, and
3
I will
weeks to
do
see the whole thing. It's tremendous in size.
another
It's
video.
only getting
For
bigger.
you,
We're expanding.
kind information I must say that if you already get your vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine, then you and
You
3
guys wanna take a
other
look over the
guests
right side
are
when you get
free
back to
to
New
go
Jersey.
inside of
First
American
of all,
Museum
they're
of
really
Natural
building
History.
up this
So
New
go
Jersey
and take
waterfront. Hey, these are all brand new,
advantage of
like,
that.
attached homes and townhouses.
If you are fully
and
vaccinated
apartments, really
and live
from
in New York City,
Fort Lee, New
you are free
Jersey,
to go
all the
inside
way
of
down
American
south.
Museum
Yeah,
of
they're
Natural
really
History
building up this New
with
Jersey
3 other
shoreline.
guests.
Oh, you know the New York football Giants and the New York Jets. They play football in New Jersey. They share MetLife Stadium. Can't see it from the boat, but not too far. You go a couple miles south and west, you'll run into East Rutherford, New Jersey. That's where you're going to find MetLife Stadium. Yeah, we got a little bit of filtered sun. As far as the weather goes, today was a good one. Tomorrow, maybe not so much. However, it's not going to be a bust because we're going to get showers starting during the overnight tonight, right? But they're going to go through probably 12 or 1 o'clock, but we should see some breaks of sun in the afternoon. So it's not, so do some late afternoon things. The rain should be over by like maybe noon or 1 o'clock. There is your AccuWeather 5-day forecast. Monday looks nice too, by the way. Oh, this coming week, we're going to see temperatures getting up into the low 80s. I think Wednesday and Thursday, so it looks nice. If we can get back to those stick buildings, up and over to your left, the tallest one, kind of tinted windows. It is an apartment building. The name of it is the Central Park Tower. So that building's
largest
rooftop
building
is
in the world.
1,550 feet, which makes it not only the tallest rooftop in New York City, but in the Western Hemisphere. It is also the tallest rooftop of any residential building in the world, believe it or not. So yeah, 1,500 feet, that's the Central Park Tower.
That's something really makes me feel proud to be a New Yorker. This view is amazing from here.
Real quick, looks like we're kind of dead center of the Hudson River right here if you look across. But this river, very wide here, right? Starts off as a little stream up the Adirondacks way upstate. This river is 315 miles long, and it was named after the English explorer, Henry Hudson. He was hired and sailed for the Dutch, made his first trip here in 1609, came back 2 years later. So I mentioned that the Native American Indians, they named the island Dutch, they named the island New Amsterdam. It officially became the city of New York in 1664. It changed hands from the Dutch to the English.
Look at all those modern looking buildings, totally different.
So anyway, you got your names Manhattan, New Amsterdam, and what is now known as New York. And if you look up ahead, well, you know what, over your left shoulder, you're going to see some of these sort of older apartment buildings, mainly brick buildings going back to the 80s, Riverside South. Up ahead a little bit to your left, these brand new interesting glass towers. There's 3 in all. It's called Waterline Square. 3 big architects. You got Raphael Vignoli, Richard Meyer, Cohen Peterson Fox. Hey, there's a sanitation pier on your left side too. You see the garbage scow underneath. Once you get past that gray pier, there's a silver building. It shoots up to a point. It drops flat down the north side. There's a Danish architect. His name is Bjarke Ingels. That's an apartment building, 38 stories. So as we get closer to it, That building, it almost looks incomplete to me. Like on the south facade, there's like this gaping hole. But those are actually private terraces that look out over an atrium that's inside the building.
Wow.
There's rolling hills and planted trees of the main lobby. Very interesting design.
Hey Joe, thank you so much for Mexican $60. I really appreciate that.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
If you look up ahead to your left, you're going to see Pier 94, Canard Lines. There's 3 locations where the ocean liners, when they visit New York City, and they're, of course, the ocean liner business in a world of hurt. Now, Canard Lines, they don't tie up here anymore. There's 3 locations.
That's
one of them is
Pier
in Brooklyn,
90,
Red Hook.
Pier
That's where the Queen Mary
88.
II docks. Here on the
There
west
is a
side of Manhattan, you
plane,
can find
wow.
Carnival cruise ships, Norwegian cruise liners, they tie up here. So this spot, pretty much right here, is where Sully landed his plane 12 years ago. Google that little landing of his, very smooth, kind of skipping across the Hudson. There was some different camera angles. One came from New Jersey, one came from Manhattan. But the one they show the most is the last image on that little going down. You recognize the aircraft carrier. They took the footage from security cameras. This was January 15th.
That's an Interpret Sea and Space Museum right over here.
And hey, if you look up ahead to your left, there's the aircraft carrier, the Intrepid, big fighting ship, served during World War II.
Soon I'll make a
Korea,
video here
Vietnam.
as well.
She's a museum.
So stay tuned for that as well.
Sea, Air, and Space Museum. She's been here since 1982. And you see there's an airplane off the end of the pier. That's one of the retired British Airways concours. Part of the museum for years. And this is the one that sent from New York to London. It was in 1996. The timing of it was 2 hours, 52 minutes, and 59 seconds. Oh, that's a submarine on the north side of the pier. Missile launcher
Right there.
cells, the Growler. And the newest addition to the Intrepid Museum is the space shuttle, the Enterprise. That was the prototype. It's on the flight deck of the Intrepid. Underneath that big covered pavilion, that's where you find it.
No, hey DT, I'm
And
not
we
getting
have got our
seasick
Pier
or
83 in
anything.
sights. We're going to be tying up in just a
There
few
is a
minutes. And I
plane
do
right
have
there.
a favor to ask of you guys. I'm actually going to close off these stairwells. For safety reasons, while we dock the boat, we just do not want you on the stairs. You know, once we get secured at the pier, we get the lines out, the gangway up, then of course you can certainly make your way on down. Of course, I'll make the announcement when the time comes, but for the meantime, yeah, just relax, stay where you are. Once we're secured at the pier, you can certainly head on down.
So,
And last, real quick, I don't know if you noticed the advertising on our windows, but the Circle Line wants you to be aware of, there's an online survey. The name of it is TripAdvisor. I don't know if you want to share your thoughts on the boat ride today, but if you do, if you go into Circle Line Cruises at TripAdvisor, if you want to share your thoughts on the ride today. My name is Chris. At the end of the boat ride, I'm going to be downstairs on the bow by the gangway as we unload. So, first of all, if you have any other questions, if you need any information, you can certainly see me on the way out. And I do want to remind you to take your valuables with you before you go. More often than not, people leave things here. Make sure you got your bags and hats and whatever you brought on board. You want to take it with you before you go. All right, I'm going to shut down these stairwells, and as soon as we're secured at the pier, I'll certainly let you guys know we can start heading down.
so that's it. That's it for the tour. It was a wonderful experience with cruise line. Wonderful experience with Circle Line Cruise. To take one of these if you want to explore New York City skyline from the water, then definitely try these. There is many other free way you can do that, but you will not get this kind of information there. So yeah, so thank you so much once again everyone for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoy this video as much as I do. If so, then before you leave, please consider give a like to this video and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. And if you can, just spread some positivity. I don't tell you to spread money, I just tell you to spread some positivity to the world, because that's all we need nowadays. So yeah, spread positivity and spread happiness to each other, and damn sure you will be happy in your life. So yeah, that's it for today, and thank you so much. I'll see you guys in another video from New York City. Till then, stay safe and make sure to spread some positivity. Goodbye and good weekend to everyone.